Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Liverpool's historic St George's Hall and to the Liverpool School of Tropical Medicine's 2019 graduation ceremony. This amazing building opened its doors to the public in 1854, over 10 years after it was commissioned. It stands on the site of the first Liverpool Infirmary, which was in operation for 75 years from 1749, and which included a hospital wing specially for sailors from the ships registered in Liverpool and their spouses. Rather like LSTM, St George's Hall was funded through the generosity of supporters, in this case via public contributions, and in the case of LSTM, it was the ship owners of Liverpool, most notably Sir Alfred Lewis Jones, who made the founding donation 121 years ago to establish LSTM as the world's first institution dedicated to the study and teaching of tropical diseases. Since then, LSTM has established itself as a world-leading institution, developing pioneering research and training generations of global health leaders who are making a difference all over the world. We are delighted that you can join us for this momentous occasion. But first, we have a few announcements to ensure the ceremony runs smoothly. So the first one, if you have babies or young children with you, during the academic procession, the sound levels will not be appropriate for tiny ears. So we ask you, politely please, to move downstairs to the North Hall and just wait for the opening ceremony to finish. And then at the end of the ceremony, you will be given an indication to leave the room and take the children with you as well. It's very important that we do this, so we'll pause just after this announcement to make sure that you've got time to leave. Members of staff in gowns will obviously bring you back up again so you don't miss a moment of the important ceremonial proceedings. Please ensure your phones are either turned off or on airplane mode. On silent, they may interfere with the sound and recording equipment in the room for the ceremony. We have many more people watching this remotely, so your participation in turning your phones off is much appreciated. You're welcome to take photos during the ceremony, but please be aware that there may be guests seated behind you, so try to take care not to stand or obscure their view. Sound travels in this room, as you can gather, so please try and be quiet during the ceremony. You'll be asked to stand for the academic procession. Once the stage party are seated on stage, please take your seats. At the close of the ceremony, please wait for the academic procession and all graduates to leave the room before following them out into the drinks reception, which is downstairs where you came in. Refreshments will be available in the adjacent room for an hour following the ceremony. And finally, we're not expecting any fire drills today, so if an alarm sounds, please follow my colleagues who are wearing these red robes, who will lead you down the stairs to assemble at the fire point. Congratulations to all of our graduates and families, and we hope you have a fantastic day. So if you just take a couple of minutes, if anyone that we haven't caught on the way in with babies or small children is in the room, could you please exit now, just temporarily? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the academic procession.
Please sit down. So, graduands, future alumni, family members, and ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome all of you present here today in the hall, and also those of us who are following the ceremony on the live stream from afar. And particularly to our graduands, welcome to your graduation ceremony, and make sure that you enjoy this moment for which you've worked so hard. You should be very proud of what you achieved, and I think there's no better way to underline your achievement than to have this graduation ceremony here in this magnificent building in St. George's Hall. When it opened in 1854, the Illustrated London News said, "This magnificent edifice will be a perennial monument of the energy and the public spirit of the people of Liverpool." The hall, of course, was initially built to impress visitors with its architecture and its grandeur. But over many years, it has become the emotional heart of Liverpool, where many memorable moments of the city's life have converged: commemorations, remembrance services, vigils and celebrations. And that makes it particularly fitting for you that after many months and sometimes many years of study at LSTM, you should celebrate and have your graduation in this building. Founded by the ship owners of Liverpool to address the needs of their sailors and the populations where they were working, LSTM is firmly rooted here in the city. But since its very beginning, our work has focused on research and teaching to improve the health and the lives of populations in the tropics. That commitment to working in partnership to break the cycle of poverty and poor health continues today. And graduation really offers not just a time to celebrate, but a chance to look back over your studies and time to think about your future. And as you move on to the next phase of your professional career, I hope that your times and studies in LSTM have inspired you that wherever you end up and whatever you do, that some of the values that LSTM promotes will stay with you. So many congratulations to you all. Enjoy today, but before you get the final proof of your hard work handed over, I'd like to welcome Professor Bertie Squire, Dean of Clinical Sciences and International Public Health, to present our first honorary degree.
President, Chair of the Board, Director, students, ladies and gentlemen, it is with great pleasure that I stand here today to recognise a truly inspirational figure in the history of the Liverpool School of Tropical Medicine, Professor Malcolm Molyneux. Malcolm's relationship with the school began in 1984, when on returning to the UK from Malawi with his wife, Elizabeth, he took up a post as senior lecturer. I'm sure that Malcolm would be a great success in whichever field he entered. But luckily for LSTM, for Malawi, and for the countless people's lives he's touched, Malcolm was persuaded by Professor Gillies, Dean at the time, to focus on malaria. What then followed was a lifelong fascination with the disease. In 1995, Malcolm and Liz returned to Malawi. As it happens, that is the year when my and my family's destiny became intertwined with that of Malcolm and his family. We returned from Malawi as Malcolm and Liz headed out. I inherited Malcolm's desk, which I sit at to this day. It's moved around the school, and his office, and his lectures. And the young Squire family brought the Molyneux family home, a process which included a ceremony in which Malcolm's children, they were then young adults, handed over the den above the garage to my small children in a very formal ceremony which my children remember to this day. When Malcolm went to Malawi, he continued his all-important research into severe and fatal malaria at the New Medical School's Pediatrics Department. As you undoubtedly know, malaria is a huge problem in Malawi. It affects the most disadvantaged people, the poorest, the least accessible, and it also mainly affects children. Nevertheless, this was quite an unusual step for someone who'd actually trained as a doctor of adult medicine at Cambridge and St. Bartholomew's Hospital in London, and then in later clinical posts. In 1995, Professor Molyneux was appointed the founding director of the Malawi-Liverpool Wellcome Trust Clinical Research Programme, a collaboration founded to study Malawi's endemic diseases and to train local staff in clinical and scientific research. Malcolm was the ideal person to lead the team. Of that time, he says, LSTM was focused on the problems of the tropics, and I was familiar with Malawi, having worked there. Huge problems in one place and huge facilities in another. And to make a bridge between them seemed a great opportunity. Malcolm is a humble man. Ask him about his successes while at MLW. They include defining a method to score the depth of a child's coma, monitoring the development of a malaria vaccine, and guiding the development of a modest program grant into a flagship overseas program. And he's reluctant to take credit. All medical science is collaborative, he says, but something like malaria has a special kind of collaborative nature in that we've really got to work together. Ask Malcolm about his biggest source of pride, he'll talk about his family. Ask him about the many clinicians and researchers he's inspired, including last year's honorary degree recipient, Professor Victor Mwapasa, and he will tell you they are first-rate people. It's a privilege to have them as friends. Talk about his love of music, and he will tell you about the Malawian choir he conducted, getting people together and producing something that is surprisingly better than the sum of the parts. The unifying theme here is other people, collaboration, a power in which Malcolm Molyneux is a firm believer and one which he has tirelessly fostered throughout his life. In preparing for this speech, a number of former colleagues were asked about Malcolm, his qualities and his achievements, and it seems that we're actually quite lucky to have him here today. I understand that he's not always the luckiest traveller, being habitually late for planes and indeed often missing them. I'm told of an instance when he took 80 hours to get from Manchester to Blantyre in Malawi, all in the same pair of underpants, having nothing but documents in his hand luggage. As Malcolm pointed out, one can only turn them inside out and back to front so many times. And, speaking of clothing, while he may look extremely smart here today, there have been times when Malcolm has lacked sartorial elegance, to put it mildly. There was a lab coat he wore to deliver bedside teaching to doctors sitting for membership of the Royal College of Physicians, which even without the unusual addition of a jacket underneath it was probably several sizes too small. And there was the occasion when he visited the Wellcome Trust on a rainy day, donned in a black bin bag with holes torn for head and arms. So joking aside, those colleagues also talked about his many excellent qualities. Professor Janet Hemingway recalls a great scientist and a wonderful colleague, driven to improve the health of the population in Malawi, where he has had a long and illustrious career, but has done this without conceit or any form of self-aggrandizement. Professor David Molyneux has actually known Malcolm since their days in Cambridge histology classes, sharing a surname people often ask if they're related. They are not. He describes a colleague and friend with empathy, understanding, humour, dedication and insight, who's made a real difference to millions and has allowed many children to enjoy a life which without his skills and commitment would not have happened. And Professor Peter Winstanley tells a great story about Malcolm sending his 3 sons into paroxysm by using a hypodermic needle to prick his thumb, smear his face with blood, and then tell them he'd just been mugged. Understandably, they were about to take off in pursuit of his assailant when Malcolm reminded them that it was actually the first day of April. What emerges is a picture of a figure who inspires by example, one who built the platform for the long-term relationship that LSTM now enjoys with Malawi, and one who describes himself not as a boss man, but as a friend. President, Chair of the Board, Directors, students, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Professor Malcolm Molyneux as eminently worthy of the honorary degree Doctor of Science.
a lot of that was fake news, so I wouldn't believe a word of it. But this is a very wonderful day for me, and I've asked myself, why am I more proud and more grateful to be given an honorary degree by the Liverpool School of Tropical Medicine than I would be if offered one from any other place in the world? And the reason is that LSTM has stood for and continues to stand for what is most important to us today in the world. In fact, it's what has always been most important in the world, unfortunately not often recognized. And that is that we all, across the globe, spring from the same origin. We are all brothers and sisters, and we need to, first of all, recognize that common origin. And then we need to not only attend to our own interests, but to attend to those of others who have different skills, different strengths, and different needs. And that's what LSTM has continuously attempted to do. Now, for me, it's a huge privilege to follow last year's first recipient of an honorary degree from LSTM. That was, we've heard his name already, Professor Victor Mwapasa from the College of Medicine in Malawi. I worked with him for many years there, and I must say I owe to him a lot more than he owes to me. And then I don't know if many of you know that another professor in Malawi, who's also a professor of LSTM, Professor Henry Mwandumba, has been awarded the prestigious Africa Prize by the Royal Society. And he will be given that prize in a ceremony in London next week. It's really a great honor for me to have worked with people of the quality of these two and many more Malawians who have emerged from training and are making a difference in their country and in the world. And it's my hope, and I'm sure it's the hope of everybody in this room, that Liverpool will continue to enjoy this particular relationship with Malawi, and also with its many other relationships around the world, which are so diverse and constructive and productive, and which have an influence, I believe, on our whole global attitude to the years that lie ahead. We need to come together, not to keep ourselves apart. We need to be a part of the rest of the world, not apart from the rest of the world. So, thank you very much.
And we now come to the conferment of LSTM's awards. Professor Philip Padfield, Dean of Education, will present the candidates to LSTM President Sir Richard Evans, CBE.
Mr. President, I present to you the following recipients of the LSTM Professional Diplomas. Students, will you please come forward to accept your diplomas? Professional Diploma in Tropical Medicine and Hygiene, Thomas Mark Bennett Britton. Hudson Frederick Guyver. Bhavana Patrick. Leni Renu Ranasinga Gunaskara. Nicholas James Roberts. Hannah Jane Russell. And we now move on to the Professional Diploma in Tropical Nursing. Kim Tracy Brooke. Irene Fortin. Naomi Gray. Sharon Rose Harrington. Magdalene Monica Kelly. Lucia Meloni. Jennifer Lee Morton. Trista Pleasance. Selena Shireen Henrietta Raymond. Amira Sheikh. Mr. President, I present to you the following candidates whom have been certified by the Board of Examiners as worthy to receive the degree of Master of Science. Students, will you please come forward to accept your degrees? Master of Science in Biology and Control of Parasites and Disease Vectors, Eleanor Simpson Baird. Andrea Collingwood. Lorianne Dyer. Samuel Hughes. Ariadne Medina Rojas. Angus Moore Farrell. Alice Louise Reed. So we move on to the Master of Science in Humanitarian Studies, Hannah Claire Baines. Kieran Robert Barnes. Magdalene Ray Baxter. Matthew Blackburn. Megan Claire Bowie. Harriet Bolam Ellis. Natalie Georgia Fitzpatrick. Tabitha Elizabeth Hill. Samuel Lumberg. Anthony Luke McKeever. Lisa Murray. Catherine Plum. Matthew John Rooney. Molly Elizabeth Simmons. Naomi Rebecca Sutton. Sarah Elizabeth Unsworth. Usama Wahid. And we move on to the Master of Science in International Public Health, Mariam Al-Makrouri. Susan Bazaz. Sophie Hilary Carter. Rose Bridget Danaher. Natalie Georgie Alberti. Fenella Marion Hayes. Beth Hemmings. Rugiatu Zainab Kamara. Ibrahim Franklin Adolphus Hamid Kamara. Lorette Albert Lahr. Charles Bathaka Mutoga. Mota Malaya Naganda. Ushimi Nita. Olufemi Oluwe Oriyinde. Unhambu Pazire. Nathalie Shafika. Melissa Taylor. Ryo Yamaguchi. The following candidate was the recipient of the Debbie Quinney Prize awarded for the student achieving the highest overall marks on the International Public Health Masters programs, Julia K. Petras. We move on to the Master of Science in International Public Health Humanitarian Assistance, Darius Tobias Greenidge. Jessica Ann Hooper. Rhys Jarrett. Hannah Marie Jones. Federica Marini. Leo Edward Henry Wood. Next, we have the Master of Science in International Public Health Planning and Management, Abdul Razak Mazare. Amelia Dorothy Marini Slezak. Haruko Yokote. And we move on to the Master of Science in International Public Health, Sexual and Reproductive Health, Salah Ali Alwadi. Hannah Louise Brown. James Quen Chi Chia. Musu Rachel Cole. Kamal Gautam. Jenny May Gilchrist. Halaleus. Caitlin Nixon Lithgow. Izzy Anulopo Wapu Osiji. Sarah Catherine Reed. Kira Eloise Bartlett. Rosemary Claire Fellows. Olivia Kate Ingle. Charlotte Linthout. Lorna Elizabeth McMahon. Sarah Louise Quinn. Jessica Catherine Reagan Brown. Rowan Softly. Master of Science in Tropical and Infectious Diseases, Hamza Farouk. Beimba Tapimi Rogers. The following candidate was the recipient of the Glenn Williams Prize awarded to the student achieving the highest overall marks in Tropical and Infectious Diseases program, Daniela Ann McLennan. Master of Science in Tropical Disease Biology, Ramota Temelada Ajoke Adelekun. Hamish Baxter. Jack Michael George Duggan. Hannah Margaret Farley. Alice Johnson Fraser. Rebecca Jane Hand. Farah Marianne Ashley Hardman. Georgina Heron. Josie Hesketh. Iona Horner. Cynthia Mabel Aravoga. Olivia Margaret Sykes. And the following cabinet was the recipient of the Jervis Prize awarded the student achieving the highest overall marks on their tropical disease biology programs, Beatrice Rose Egid. Master of Science in Tropical Pediatrics, Nina Dewey Putri. Mr. President, I present to you the following candidates whom have been certified by the Board of Examiners as worthy to receive the Doctor of Philosophy. Students, will you please come forward to accept your degrees? Doctor of Medicine in Clinical Sciences, Victoria Ann Connor. Doctor of Philosophy in Clinical Sciences, Hugh Francis Adler. Andrew Duncan McCullum. Doctor of Philosophy in Global Health, Neil Whittingham. Doctor of Philosophy in Parasitology, Anfal Youssef. Mr. President, I make application to you to confer the degrees listed on those candidates who have not been presented in person, but whose names appear in the programme and who have indicated that they wish their degrees to be conferred in their absence. I certify that they are worthy to receive those degrees, and I stand in proxy for them. Congratulations to all today's graduates. I will now hand over to the LSTM President, Sir Richard Evans, CBE, to formally admit the candidates to their degrees.
By virtue of the authority invested in me, I admit to their degrees those presented in person today and those for whom you stand as proxy. I'd like to congratulate all of those again who have graduated here today, and it's with great pleasure that I now welcome Professor Sally Theobald, Chair of Social Science and International Health, to present our second and final honorary degree.
President, Chair of the Board, Directors, students, ladies, gentlemen, friends and colleagues, it gives me great personal delight to be able to introduce Professor Najla Al-Sambouli. And to situate her work, I want to first take you to Yemen. Yemen has endured 1,711 days of war. The United Nations have declared Yemen the world's worst humanitarian crisis. Since the beginning of the war, over 85,000 children have died. That is more than all the children aged under 16 in Liverpool. Over 24 million Yemenis are in urgent need of aid, including water and food. That is equivalent to 1/3 of the UK population. Within this incredibly daunting context are amazing, strong and resilient health professionals risking their lives and working tirelessly to provide much needed healthcare. This includes our own alumni and the woman we are here to celebrate today, Najla Al-Sambouli. So let me introduce you then to Najla. She studied medicine and pediatrics in Sana'a and then completed her master's in tropical pediatrics in 1999 in LSTM. And following that, she did her diploma in tropical child health. And Emeritus Senior Lecturer Brian Coulter, director of the diploma at that time, remembers Najla as a highly intelligent and well-organised paediatrician with enormous drive and resources, which enabled her not only to continue working in paediatrics in Sana'a, but to also excel at the highest level, despite the dangers and extreme circumstances owing to the war. Following this, Najla undertook her PhD on paediatric health with LSTM's Professor Lewis Cuevas, graduating in 2006. And that's when I first met Najla, and together with Professor Cuevas and Dr. Nasha Al-Akbari, also from Yemen and also our alumni. We were successful in securing grants and implementing grants to enhance case finding for tuberculosis for different vulnerable and marginalised groups in Sana'a. And Luis Cuevas and Rachel Anderson remember fondly working with Najla in Yemen. And they say, Najla loves children. At the beginning of her medical training, she used to faint when she saw children suffering in hospital and wondered if she had what it took to be a doctor. But she persevered and studied paediatrics. At the start of the war, Najla reported children were seeing things children should never have to see, referring to victims of the bombings. Schools had to close for long periods at the height of the fighting in Sana'a, and Najla was concerned about the disruption to children's education. And in response, she set up a home school for her niece, and Najla jokingly complained that it was so successful that her niece would not let her go to work. So, as head of the Department of Paediatrics at Sana'a University and at Al Sabeen Hospital in Sana'a, she is working tirelessly to lead and motivate her staff to provide essential medical care to save babies and children's lives in the world's largest humanitarian crisis. Sana'a's population is under intense hardship, extreme poverty, and children are facing injury, infectious disease, and hunger. Al Sabeen Hospital is also surrounded by a large refugee camp with both internal and international refugees. And Al Sabeen is highly valued as the only centre in Sana'a with a functioning paediatric intensive care unit. And services continue to be provided for free, which is unusual in Yemen. Najla and her team have organised responses to the cholera epidemics and to support children with severe malnutrition. They have updated and repaired wards in the intensive care unit, fostering links with UNICEF. One of her colleagues, Mohammed Abdul Mughni, tragically died of cholera through providing this care. Najla has shown incredible resilience in the face of war, organising staff, motivating them to provide voluntary services with minimal resources, and being responsive to new challenges. When interviewed last year, Najla said, "Each day when you leave home, you don't know if you will be back home or not. But when I see how sick people come to the hospital, despite all the security challenges, this makes me strong enough to go to the hospital to help them and stand by them. To be a good leader, you have to lead by example. You have to become a symbol." So, leadership in these contexts makes an enormous difference. Najla is positive, selfless, resilient and determined, and she has been supported by her colleagues, including our own alumni, Nasha Al-Akbari, who was also sadly injured in the war with shrapnel in his legs. Najla, her colleagues and her hospital have been supported by solidarity fundraising in Liverpool, by the staff of LSTM, by artists in Liverpool. So over 100 artists donated their work for auction organised by Lucy Dusser and Vicky LeBon, and through a Habibti stall at Granby Street Market. This is a monthly stall in Liverpool. It's on this Saturday. It's the Christmas one, so do come and support. Habibti means Arabic. It means beloved in Arabic. The stall sells pre-loved goods and is run by women from the Liverpool community from a diverse range of backgrounds. And I have a quote from some of them, from Louise, Kate, Christiana and Saba. They say, "Picture this, Najla working in a war zone in Yemen with vulnerable children exhausted and stretched beyond human capacity. Yet this extraordinarily compassionate, committed and resilient woman has it within her heart to WhatsApp us here on Granby Street Market stall in Liverpool the immense gratitude from herself, staff and the children at Al Sabeen Hospital. Not just for the money raised, but for our love and remembering them in forgotten Yemen." That's what gets us up on a cold, rainy Saturday morning at the market. How could we not? People who have never even met Najla in Liverpool and beyond have taken Najla into their hearts. Few of us here have experienced or could imagine working in such circumstances, and I am proud that she is our alumni and our colleague. To me, she embodies the symbol of strong, passionate, positive, impactful, and resourceful leadership. Ladies, gentlemen, friends, colleagues, I put to you that no one can inspire us more with her dedication, commitment, and leadership to provide life-saving healthcare in the most challenging of circumstances. President, Chair of the Board, Directors, students, ladies, gentlemen, friends, colleagues, I present to you Professor Najla Al-Sambali as eminently worthy of the honorary degree Doctor of Science. And sadly, due to the war, Najla is unable to be here with us today, but she has sent a video to our comms team, which will be shown.
Hi and salam to everybody from Najla Al-Sambali, from Sana'a, Yemen. I am a professor in pediatric, head of pediatric department at Sana'a University and at Sabain Hospital for Women and Children. Well, I'm trying, since I knew that Liverpool School of Tropical Medicine were going to award me this very honorable degree. I couldn't sleep. I'm just thinking, well, how I can express my happiness, or how I can express my feelings with the proudness that I am alumna of this great medical school. I would like to thank and owe my deepest thanks to the women, the greatest women that I ever know in my life, Professor Sally Theobald and her group. This group that I gave it a name of Yemen Liverpool Friendship Group. This group that kept the links between Sana'a and Liverpool. This group that consists from a very generous, great, gorgeous women and kids from UK and from Yemen. This group that give us hand and stand by us when we are so weak, when the war ruined our country. Professor David Lalo, by awarding me this degree, I promise to keep the message and the vision of LMST up all of my life. And I consider this certificate, I consider it is the biggest responsibility that I have to take care. Thank you from the deepest of my heart. Thank you to everyone who helped me and stopped by me to reach to this honorable, very honorable decision. And I wish one day I can come to Liverpool to thank all of you and to say again and again, thank you. I am the happiest woman in this globe.
And it is now my pleasure to introduce Amina Atiq, who is a Yemeni Scouse performance poet who will be accepting the degree on behalf of Professor Najla Al-Sambali.
I don't know about you, but I need to take a minute. And it's not I'm in tears because I'm sad, I'm just proud. I'm absolutely proud. So, Najla, I speak directly to you today because it's not about me today, it's about you. And when you watch over this, I tell you that thousands of people all over the world are inspired by your work, and I am one of them. And in particular, you have won the hearts of the Liverpool people. And to all the health workers who risk their lives every day to save others, who put their lives before anyone else, Najla, your work, your story, your commitment, your achievements will live on. And it is an honour to witness this achievement, and I'm so humbled to receive this award on your behalf. But I'm also here today to share some work, poetry, poem, that was inspired by Najla's work. And before I started writing this, I knew my pen was too dry to understand what goes on behind hospital walls, especially when war is taking place at your doorstep. But from a Yemeni woman to another, whose courage and faith has moved my pen today, this one is for you. And peace and safety to our homeland. As-salam wal-aman li biladina. The hospital walls. She sleeps in with the famine, wearing her body inside out, dreading the pulse of their tiny hearts in her palms as the hospital walls close in, pushing away the summer days, and a child's laughter born in war is a phone call away between life and death in her hands. In her hands, and life machines twitching electricity as the hospital beds tremble and the broken fridges gripping onto the drips and wires sweeping blood, faces and names, tracks around her memory. Tracks around her memory, piercing holes in the walls, uncovering a battlefield, begging for safety. Begging for safety as it sings bedtime stories and hands out food as a weapon, wishing it was a mistake. And if the world can write without moving its pen, then we would have no face to confront war. And we would not have a face to confront war, and the women behind emergency room curtains, on the front line from start to end, to dawn her name, wearing her heart on her sleeve as a soldier born, burying war as the hospital walls close in. As the hospital walls close in, your neighbours drink from your rivers, flooding your streets. But the summer days will return, and the children will come out and play, flying their paper aeroplanes over their heads, and the sounds of their laughter will rest into the winter nights. And our history books will knock on each door to quench the thirst of their women, our women, who left their armours outside hospital doors to save our children. Thank you.
Thanks so much to Amina for that fantastic and very moving poem. I would like to offer my congratulations to Najila as well today, and to all of the students graduating. And we'll end the ceremony with a closing address from the LSTM Chair, Mr. James Ross, OBE.
So, graduates, alumni, proud family members, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of LSTM's Board of Trustees, a simple congratulations. This may also be a moment to pause and briefly reflect on the studies you've just completed and the next stage of your careers that you're about to embark on. You are where you are today, not only by working hard, but also because of a considerable degree of sacrifice that you and your loved ones have made. You, your families and friends should feel justifiably proud of where you are today. You graduated from a great institution, the first one of its kind, 120 years young. From its origins, LSTM has always been, like the city of Liverpool itself, outward-looking, forward-thinking, and driven by partnerships. Founded by the shipping magnates of Liverpool, LSTM's ethics, however, were very much formed by Mary Kingsley, personal friend of the school's founders and a largely self-educated, traveller and human rights activist who had strong views on the social and political issues of her time and an interest in science. It was she who pushed the school's authorities to work in partnership across the globe, recognising local knowledge and interests working together towards a common goal. This spirit was reflected, for example, in LSTM's early prospectuses, which ahead of its time were generous, outward-looking, inclusive rather than exclusive, based on charitable and humanitarian principles. This spirit is embedded in LSTM's highest award, the Mary Kingsley Medal, awarded to those who've made outstanding contributions in the field of tropical medicine. Now, you're standing on the shoulders of many of these giants, of the likes of Mary Kingsley, but also of Dr. Alwyn Evans, LSTM's first female lecturer in the 20s of the last century. By sheer hard work and commitment, she forged for herself a worldwide reputation as an entomologist and was held in high esteem in a then male-dominated area of work. But today's giants are closer at hand. You've just heard about two of them on whose shoulders you will be standing. This year's recipients of LSTM's honorary degrees, Professor Malcolm Molyneux and Professor Najla Al-Simboli. You've heard about their determination, stamina, humility, but most importantly about making personal sacrifices to achieve a real impact on the communities that they chose to serve. So, stand on their shoulders, as you'll now be the embodiment of that same drive and commitment to have a positive impact on the global health challenges that so many communities around the world face today. Demographics predict that by 2050, not that far away, some 60% of the world's children will be living in the tropics. And as LSTM's very first lecturer, Sir Ronald Ross, said about 120 years ago, the future prosperity of the tropics depends on their health security. And LSTM has translated that into breaking the cycle of poor health and poverty, which is as relevant today as it ever was. Some of those global health challenges are nearby, others are further afield, but I trust that you will make a difference, just as those many LSTM giants who preceded you. Whether you remain in academia, continue your clinical career, go overseas to work for an international agency or a local startup, I hope you'll stay in touch with us so that together we can expand the network of LSTM alumni and continue to work for this common cause. For now, celebrate, and I wish you well in your future endeavours. Congratulations once again. And now I'd like to invite Sir Richard Evans to come on stage to formally close the ceremony.
Ladies and gentlemen and graduates, I now declare this graduation ceremony officially closed. Would you please stand for the academic procession? Thank you.